deaf, dumb, and mad tomorrow at 4:30. Now, Mike Schneider, Michelle Marsh, Warner Wolf, Dr. Frank Field, and the Channel 2 News team. This is Channel 2 News at 11. Everything you need to know, because anything can happen in New York.
Hello, it is the kind of crime that would shock any town. A woman kidnapped, held prisoner in a motel for 3 days, and repeatedly raped. But it happened in a community where people say things like that just don't happen, in Darien, Connecticut. Well, tonight a 44-year-old man charged with the crime is out on bail. And as Channel 2's Brian Williams reports, drugs may have played a major role.
Police say a 33-year-old woman was held prisoner for 3 days in this Howard Johnson's motel.
Coming up, Patterson's Joe Clark facing the school board and disciplinary action once again. A child molester on the loose in Queens, and parents want to know what the police are doing about it out there. And trying to bring hope to the homeless. Cardinal O'Connor reaching out.
Also tonight, Woody Allen center stage in international politics. Almost 90 and still learning, graduation day for a special student. And the children of South Africa make music on Broadway. Dennis reviews Serafina. Warner with sports. Dr. Frank Field with the weekend forecast. Channel 2 News at 11 is next.
Another 30 seconds of common sense. The new Hyundai Excel four-door sedan versus another durable vehicle with a trunk. Both have plenty of room, both come fully carpeted, and both work for peanuts. But how does comparing the Excel to an elephant make sense? Because at just $57.95, this Excel is the lowest priced four-door sedan in America. And comparing it to anything else with a trunk just wouldn't hold water.
For the Hyundai dealer nearest you, call toll-free 826-CARS.
Dad, it's me. Your son, me.
New York Telephone presents the Everything's Fine call.
Yes, Dad, I'm fine. I'm eating right. I'm eating my vegetables.
A call can make a difference. And New York Telephone's lower regional calling rates make it easier to show you care.
I'm fine. Hey, I called to see how you were doing.
A call can make a difference.
You're right. It's nice just to talk. And Dad, no wild parties while Mom is away.
New York Telephone, a 9X company.
If you've been thinking about buying a new Daytona, now is the time to see your Tri-State Dodge dealer. For a limited time, you can get an additional $500 cash back on the Dodge Daytona of your choice. Add that to the $770 cash back already available on Daytona, and you'll save a total of $1,270. That means you could be driving an exciting new Daytona for as little as $77.25. See your Tri-State Dodge dealer and save big on a new Daytona. When it comes to great deals,
it's gotta be a Dodge.
Madden Super Bowl preview, Saturday at 7. Now, Mike Schneider, Michelle Marsh, Warner Wolf, Dr. Frank Field, and the Channel 2 News team. This is Channel 2 News at 11. Everything you need to know, because anything can happen in New York.
Good evening. He is the most famous high school principal in the United States, known for cracking down on students who don't make the grade. But his methods have brought him trouble from his school board. And tonight, Patterson principal Joe Clark faced another tough test. Channel 2's Reggie Harris was there as the school board decided what it should do next.
The flamboyant principal of Patterson's Eastside High School may yet face disciplinary action for expelling 66 students last December, but Joe Clark may wait up to 2 weeks more before he learns the charges, that is, if there are any charges. Tonight, the Patterson School Board left it up to Patterson's superintendent of schools and the school board attorney.
They will re-examine all the issues, and if it warrants, they will file with the secretary of the board charges, and again, the Board of Education will then take a look at that documentation and decide what it should do at another point in time.
Earlier this month, the school board had accused Clark of violating due process and expelling the students. But the board had itself violated Clark's right to due process by ignoring its own procedure for bringing charges against the principal. Only Clark's immediate superior, the superintendent, can bring charges. Tonight, the board ordered the superintendent and the school board lawyer to investigate the expulsions and report back by February 15th. Joe Clark has become a media megastar to the point of appearing on the cover of this week's Time magazine. All the national attention has lots of people in Patterson saying it's time to get back to the basics of education.
Expeditiously bring to a climax
this matter at Eastside High School so that we can get on with the education.
Joe Clark stayed away from tonight's meeting, as did his supporters. It left the huge auditorium virtually empty, but Clark's lawyer was present.
He's prepared at any time to defend any charge, but that's not the message tonight. The message tonight is one of conciliation. I think the board has taken a very brave act to try and create a climate where whatever the problems are, whatever the investigations are, they can go forward properly.
Dr. Frank Napier, the school superintendent, is a Joe Clark supporter. Putting this investigation in Napier's hands, where it has always belonged, could be read as an olive branch from the board in effort to end this episode of the Joe Clark story. In Patterson, Reggie Harris, Channel 2 News.
Tonight, one of the officials convicted in the New York City corruption scandal wants a new trial. Lester Shafran, the former director of the Parking Violations Bureau. He was convicted of taking bribes, largely on the testimony of Bernard Sandow, who admitted paying bribes. But now Sandow has changed part of his story, it seems. Implicated another man in the bribery scheme, a man he refused to finger before. And Shafran's lawyer says this new story should prompt a new trial.
If what the government says is true, that Sandow lied, it means that Judge Knapp will most probably grant Shafran a new trial and probably some or all the other defendants.
But the attorney for Stanley Friedman, the key figure in the scandal, says he doubts new trials will be granted. Michelle.
Tonight, Yonkers is looking at a new beginning after 7 angry years of debate over housing desegregation. Early this morning, the City Council approved a low-income housing plan after a night of heated protest. Police were everywhere because of death threats sent to some of the council members. Today, the federal judge who ordered the project signed the deal and warned city officials that everyone will be watching. City housing cop Ganson Chambers says a Brooklyn Hasidic street patrol beat him for doing his job. Chambers intervened when he saw members of the Sham Rim patrol attacking a man they claimed was a thief. He says the incident left him partially paralyzed. Chambers is suing the patrol for $2 million.
As I walked out, they continued to punch, and I'm holding the man up, trying to punch back. And as I walk, this thing continued.
This officer happened to come as an ego against us. He hates us, which is known in the neighborhood that he hates us from far back. He started pushing with his stick. He held the stick across his body, was pushing the people like back and forth.
3 patrol members are charged with assault. Police and neighbors insist the patrol has never caused any trouble.
In Queens, dozens of frightened parents turned out tonight to meet with police, hoping for some reassuring words. Jackson Heights is now filled with fear these days. 15 children there have been molested recently, and the man who did it is still walking the streets. As Channel 2's Brian Williams reports now, police feel the best way to bring him in is to get the word out.
Even though none of the students from this school has been approached by the molester police say is somewhere in Queens, parents turned out to learn what they could.
I feel very upset, not only for my own child, other people's children too.
The guy molesting the little kids, I don't like that. So I want to see what they do about this.
The assaults are taking place from Monday to Friday on school days, during the lunch break hours, and the school dismissal at 3 o'clock.
Police in plain clothes at a PTA meeting telling parents they know the suspect's M.O. The suspect, about 30 years old, baseball cap, pockmarked face, a mustache. Because of him, police are saying school children should have someone with them after school and should not walk home alone. And that's part of the problem. Jackson Heights, Queens is largely working class, and many working people aren't home when their kids come home from school. Any afternoon after school, ask most anyone in the neighborhood. They're aware of the suspect.
We keep an eye and we try to watch the best of our ability anyway.
My daughter, it's a shame at 8 years old I have to sit down and tell her, remember, Tricia, about good touch and bad touch. She thinks the man's name is Mr. Molester.
It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. However, if you look around the schools where children are, you might see him.
I keep my eyes open, and if I see a child alone, I always ask them, you know, wait and go home with a friend and make sure you don't walk into your building all alone.
Police say the suspect has approached 15 girls ages 8 to 13. 2 have been sodomized, others approached and fondled. 80 police officers are on the case. At these meetings, they warn parents and they tell kids to watch for anyone following them home. Police from the sex crimes unit in Queens say they will get their man, but they say it might take time, and they admit to the likelihood that the suspect might strike again between now and then. At PS 148 in Jackson Heights, Queens, Brian Williams, Channel 2 News.
It certainly sounds frightening, a second type of AIDS virus showing up in this country for the first time. But tonight, health officials are trying to reassure the public that it is no major threat. They say only one case of HIV-2 virus is involved right now, a West African woman who's in isolation at a Newark hospital. And doctors believe she contracted the virus over there in Africa, see no evidence at all it's been spread over here. They insist this new AIDS virus does not endanger the blood banks.
We can honestly say that the blood supply now is safer than it has been previously. We certainly do more thorough testing, and we have more avenues of testing at our disposal now, and we use every one of them.
But if the situation changes, the Red Cross says it will start testing donated blood for HIV-2.
There are no easy answers to the problem of housing the homeless, but tonight Cardinal John O'Connor is renewing his efforts to find solutions. Tonight, St. Agnes